Well, hello. What powerful words were shared, especially following the last about 24 hours. And, as I sat there and listened to some of the words that were spoken before our meditation music, um, really what comes to mind and how I lead and where my heart and mind is humanity is not debatable. And, if that wasn't humanity not debatable in those spoken words and responsive verses, what an incredible introduction. So I am so blessed to be here with you this morning to share just a little bit about your City of Fond du Lac Police Department. A lot of where we're going is driven by where we've been, and I'm a very visual person. And one of the things I like to think about in movement is being in a car. And when I'm in a car, I have multiple things that I look at, but there's two major places that I look to for vision. One of them being my rearview mirror. And in my rearview mirror, I don't always look there, but when I look there, I want to know where I've been, and it's really important to know where you've come from. But what's really neat about the rearview mirror is it's really tiny. And you look at the windshield and think about how big your windshield is and the vision we have through our windshield of where we're going. And a little of today is what I'm just going to share is some looks at the rearview mirror so that you understand the vision and the movement we're going through the windshield here in the city of Fond du Lac and our Fond du Lac community. And please, I hope I get props for putting the right logo and church within my PowerPoint. So if that doesn't applause right there, if that doesn't get applause, um, so I do a little research before I go places to ensure, I know where I'm going. So real quick, so you understand where my heart and mind comes from. Born and raised in the Chicago and Chicagoland area, blessed to have two loving parents. I look out and there's a lot of people here that I have yet met. So it's neat to be able to share a little bit about me because I will have some time to learn a little bit about you. Um, I grew up in a very culturally diverse neighborhood, and there are times that I can still smell the wonderful foods that were coming from my neighborhood. Actually, just went back to Chicago a couple weeks ago, had some incredible fried chicken. Sorry for people that are around here, but it was incredible. In my high school, I had some experiences that most I've run into in my life's journey really have not had. Um, I went to a high school with nearly 2,200 students, where 42% of those students spoke a different language other than English. There were 35 different languages spoken in my high school every single day from 53 different countries. That's, if you think about it, when you build a foundation as a child, as a young adult. And then today I get this vehicle, this incredible opportunity to be your chief of police, is that's what's inside me. Additionally, my high school was actually a central location for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So not only was I learning about all different cultures growing up, but I also was learning even more. I learned at an early age to value what makes us all unique. And I'm loving what I'm seeing here in this community. Following high school, I had the opportunity and privilege to go to college to play college football and actually lived in a fraternity house with about 46 different guys. And I learned coming from where I did in Chicago, and I went to Ripon College here in Wisconsin in the early 90s, where I say Wisconsin was very white America. And I lived in a fraternity house with a diverse group of over 46 men living under one roof, Black, white, Latino, Native American. And it was an experience because there were a few guys in the house that prior to college, they never met a person of color outside their TV. So yet it was another experience of different lived experiences within my foundation that I bring to you today. Also, in that house, I learned how activities that intentionally focused on and understanding led to deeper and meaningful connections with each other, regardless of where one began. There are so many times I see people ashamed that they haven't had some of those lived experiences, and I meet with them to understand they should be proud of where they came from, and we build upon that foundation because a lot of times you don't get to pick where you grew up. Today, I'm happy to say that I've been married for over 24 years. Very supportive and understanding wife. Give her a huge shout out. Two children. I do. I mean, definitely couldn't do this job today to have an understanding wife to be here on a Sunday with you at a time of my family's rest. Through this journey, as a parent, I learned that even though my children grew up under the same roof in a two-parent loving home, each one of my kids had different lived experiences. So yet another mark in my foundation. They had different experiences in school, different experiences driving, and different experiences in stores. See, I'm blessed to be a father of a mixed race son, and I have learned to be a better human being through understanding his different lived experiences. So that's a little bit about that rearview mirror. Also, you can see here my vision. I've been your chief of police for about 2.5 years, and my vision is to lead from a deep sense of purpose and commitment to life-affirming values with a core belief in our mission. See, there needs to be a sense of urgency and safety through real action that promotes diversity and embraces practices that foster equity and inclusion. My vision is beyond a carefully crafted statement to hang on a wall. And my vision uses the lessons that I've learned through my life's journey. Looking at all you out there, I truly believe that we are better together. And that is part of this new vision. Just a little bit too about my leadership philosophy for those that I have not had the opportunity yet to sit down with is my personal leadership philosophy I have coined as AIM. It stands for authentic, intentional, mindful, and energy. And what I mean by that for authentic is even in law enforcement and public safety, as sometimes people see the uniform and the badge, is we have to cultivate real and caring relationships. That is number one. They must be authentic. Secondly, is we have to lead with purpose. We have to have a just cause of what we're doing that aligns with all of you that are out there. See, I have a lot of passionate people that I have the privilege to lead, and I have to make sure what we're doing aligns with their purpose because each one has a different purpose of why they do it, but they still have that passion to serve. Mindful, and you're going to see it through today, is we must have an understanding. We must be compassionate and understanding that that looks like a lot of fun back there. And I will be joining you kids in just a few minutes because that goes into energy is you have to be a person of energy. When you walk into this church, when you walk into a park, when you walk into a school, when you walk into your house at home, you need to add value, period. And that's my personal leadership philosophy. So what does it look like today? Well, the rear view mirror prior to my administration was we had a mission to be professional excellence. And it sounds incredible, but it really focuses on the what and not the who or the why. So for a decade, and there's not anything wrong with it, right? But I learned that professional excellence, in my perspective, in my purview, may be different than all of yours out there and what you expect from your local police department. See, I can think that we're excellent in a place where you think we need help or we're not doing it as well. And because of my life's journey, I have changed, and there's actually one person that's sitting in the church that helped me craft my vision, and it really focuses on the why and the who. And there's three things now that we have as our vision. One is we put people first. We just talked about those words. Humanity is not debatable. It's not about professional excellence. It's about customer service. It's about people first. The second thing is we have to add value. as a police department, we need to add value to your lives. We need to add value to this community. And the last thing is trust. You have to have trust in your police department, and we have to have trust in our community. So everything that we do is based on our new vision of always putting people first, not a product, an actual human being. Our mission that was built by our community together. I had a 3 year, um, I went out to the community, different civic groups, advocacy groups, nonprofits, and we built a mission together that talks about leadership, service, and protection for all people. It's that simple. And that's what your police department does. We have core values that are anchored in honor, integrity, and professionalism. And then we have new foundational beliefs that go off of our people first philosophy that we must be approachable. How many times do you see, like maybe in the news and everything else, that your law enforcement are not approachable? That's that compassionate side. We must be approachable. We must be accessible. We need to be there when you need us. Professional, understanding, and compassionate. Today, I want to share just a few things just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like at the police department with some statistics. So here are just a few highlights. So each year in 2023, we took in 4,536 pieces of evidence. That means almost 400 a month. Now, what's incredible is we're an accredited agency, and I could tell you that we do audits, we do inspections, and I actually do random audits and inspections so that my property and evidence team do not know that we're coming. And we are 100% accountable for every single piece of property and evidence that comes into this police department. That is incredible. Not all police departments can say that. Then look at that big number, 96,279. This community helped me build a policy for our body-worn cameras. That is the cameras that our officers wear. In 2023 alone, we took in nearly 100,000 videos, which equates to about 8,000 a month. And again, we are 100% accountable for every single video. What I implemented is a auditing system for our body-worn cameras, and quarterly, those body-worn cameras are actually audited to ensure that our police officers are following policy. And I can tell you overwhelmingly that our officers have really bought into our body-worn camera program and embraced their benefits. So it's not easy. We love it, but I can tell you it's not easy if you think about you in your daily life. If everything you did, said, maybe didn't do, didn't say is recorded. And we embrace that. That tells you where we're at as a police department. Another one that sometimes I like to share is use of force, because you see things and you hear things about violence. You see things about heavy-handed police. So in 2023, we had 137 reportable use of force incidents. That means 137 times at a minimum, an officer put their hands on somebody to a level that it could have caused pain. That's a reportable incident. That is 0.32% of our contacts. If you can think about it, our officers have tens of hundreds of thousands of contacts every single year with community members, visitors, students, and 99.68% of them result in no use of force. So nearly 100% result in no use of force. To give you another idea, we track everything and we look at everything. In 2023, we had 203 incidents where an officer believed that there was some sort of indicator and perception of deadly force, meaning they thought the person that they were dealing with, the individual that they were dealing with, was either going to kill somebody or gravely wound somebody. 203 times. Our officers pointed, those are incidents, our officers pointed a firearm at somebody at the level that they were prepared to fire their weapon. Given our officers' training, high character, high ethics, and values, and ability to communicate, they were able to de-escalate each and every one of those often chaotic, dynamic, and dangerous incidents with no law enforcement shots fired 203 times. That is your Fond du Lac Police Department. Some other noteworthy things you can see on there, we had 42,459 recorded incidents. So when you see those cars flying around our city, they go from anywhere from about 140 to 220 calls every single day. Yes, I hear the breath. Yes, it is. It's amazing, and we're blessed to be able to do that. The other one that is new today that I wanted to bring up because I started to see a trend is in language line. Language line is one of the resources we use when we're in a situation where that person may not speak English or broken English. And if you look at in 2020, we spent about $45 a month in 2020. 21, we spent $185 a month. 22 was $470 a month. 23 was $820 a month. And right now, year to date, we're just under $1,000 a month. So when you look at, it's anecdotal a little bit, but you can look at the growth in our community with the resources that we need to be able to best police our community. So just about $1,000 a month right now. And I would imagine, and that's with Spanish speaking officers that we have and record clerks. I would imagine that that number is going to continue to increase. This is something as a community and communities that you should be really, really proud of, and we are. Excellence in public safety is by no accident. So just to give you an idea, there are 8 municipal fire departments and 47 police departments that are fully accredited. So that means we've gone the extra mile. We have people come in and audit us at all. We have a state agency that comes in and audit us every 3 years. That is out of the slightly 1,800 towns, villages, and cities. There are 8 and 47. Keep those in mind. To put this into context even further, there are only 2, yes, only 2 cities that have a fire department that is ISO related 1 accredited and a police department that is accredited. 2 out of 1,800. And your city of Fond du Lac is one of them. West Dallas is the other. That is how rare we are in public safety today. Transparency. One of the things as chief I wanted to bring back was to ensure that we are transparent in everything we are doing. Now, there are unintended consequences with that if we haven't met before and haven't spoken before, because there are people that I run across that they're like, Fond du Lac is dangerous. Fond du Lac is violent. What I would share with you today is I am just sharing all that information today than we've ever shared before. So you just have more information. I truly believe that an informed community is a more engaged community. I don't want anything to hide on this community. There are things, obviously, we have human beings, right, that live here. We're not robots. We're not aliens that I believe. I don't know. So I have a wide mindset, but we want not yet. I hear not yet, Zoe. Not yet, Zoe. Yes. This is actually not me. If you like it, it's me. If it's not, it's AI today. So we pride ourselves in empowering our people, as you can kind of see on the screen. I mean, from lieutenant of detectives to our assistant chiefs, to our detectives, to our specialists, to be in front of the camera, to talk on radio, to tell our story. That's what's important. And if you hear me outside today, in different presentations that I give, is Fond du Lac sometimes has a difficult time of telling their story. And what I mean by that is we tell a story that is kind of got a gray cloud that hangs over Fond du Lac, and we're our own worst enemies. So we're taking the chance today and every single day to tell the story of Fond du Lac, of how beautiful this community is, of how rich of culture and diversity. If you haven't seen some of the food trucks and restaurants and stores that are popping up, how beautiful that is. So we share the good and the bad. And what we want is when I do these presentations, my ask of you, my charge of you is when you hear some of that talk that's out there in the community, is you now have an opportunity to combat that. It will take courage, but to combat that and say that's not what I heard from the chief of police. This is the real story. This is the real narrative of Fond du Lac. Because I can stand in front of you today, and even hearing what we hear throughout the nation and in local news, Fond du Lac is safe. Fond du Lac has incredible resources. Fond du Lac has incredible restaurants, places to hang out, music. It is a great place to live. And all you need to do is, if you have the privilege of sight, is open your eyes. And if you have the privilege of sound, listen. Go to one of the parks. This community, I come from a rich community, not rich in money, but rich in other things. This community is beautiful. So a culture of understanding, compassion, and professionalism, our vision, people first. So there's a few pictures that are up there. This journey, this vehicle that I've been given to wear this badge and this uniform, has provided opportunities. One of them is called Courageous Conversations at the Dinner Table. Actually, the co-founder, she's not gonna, Larice is here. There was one day, yeah, Larice in the back, and I'll give a shout out to Maya. That's next to her because that gets recorded, Maya. So you're gonna be on there forever on YouTube. So in short, Larice and I have very different upbringings, different lived experiences, journeys, and we have shared them for over a decade, like decade and a half. And we realized with those coming into our workforce, and one being the police department, is those that I was hiring might not have had those lived experiences that Larice and I had, like I explained with how many, languages were spoken in my high school. I sit down with each and every single new employee to learn what their foundation is. And some of them have come from rural high schools that never had a person of color, never had somebody that was LGBTQI plus. And that is okay. That is just a foundation. Well, in this case, in 2020, what spurred this, if you recall, and not going through all of 2020, 2020 was racially divided a year. We had George Floyd. We had a lot of work to do from a law enforcement perspective and a community perspective, specifically with our Black, Brown, and African American community members. So we put a program together. We asked for some other individuals to help us steer that. We had three others that helped us in the community put it together, and we had a small group of white police officers interact with a small group of Black, Brown, African American police officers, asking them questions and really letting them get to know each other on a deeper level. And we did that several times. We need to bring it back. She's nodding her head. We want to do it with youth. We started with adults, but that's how you build understanding. That's how you build compassion. That's how you build so that you have officers go into the community, have a better breadth of understanding of where somebody's lived experiences are that are different. Another one is bias-based policing. So I actually just recently had about 12 to 15 community members join my entire leadership team, all 18, all of us in a room for a day and a half, having conversations about fair and impartial policing from all different aspects, helping us build policy, helping us build procedures, helping us look at how we recruit, helping us look at how we hire. Does that not sound phenomenal that the community is helping us build from all their lived experiences how we are going to police and what your police department looks like? Ebony Vision's Humanity Project. I was blessed on one year to be part of that planning committee, but we'll have officers, school resource officers be part of that learning process. Bread of Life Church. I can't tell you on countless last 2 decades how many times I've been at that church giving presentations. Actually, within the last couple months, got to do a sermon. Neatest thing in the world. I'm not saying that I've been doing it, but it was really good. It's a lot of work, a lot of work. And then presentations at civic groups, telling your story. It's so important to tell your story. This slide brings me goosebumps. So when we talked about different lived experiences, one of the things that I have learned through my journey is representation matters. Let me say that again. Representation matters. So if you look at that upper left on June 19th through June 20th, that night in 2023, We had our all first female shift in the city of Fond du Lac, all female. Now I can tell you, so the national average for police officers, for female police officers, is 10%. It's a male dominated world. Those identify as male. We are over double the national average and continue to grow. And for that, I'm just blessed. If you look at below where it says the June 19th to June 20th is where I talk about representation matters. We have more diversity and lived experiences coming to work for the police department than ever before. So we have our first two Hispanic Spanish speaking officers. If you look at Lisa, who's there to the left, we have our first fluent Spanish speaking records clerk. Do you know what that means? We have a lot of Spanish speaking community members that come to the police department for assistance, have questions, want to know how to do something. And we now have a human being, not a Google app, not a language line. It is just that much better. So we're in that direction. Another one is you can see if you go to the right that is Officer Da Nang Vang, our first Thai Hmong officer. English actually is a third language for Da. Do you think look at that? If you can see that picture, do you think representation matters? This was at a kickball game. Have you noticed who those two students are? Representation matters. Can you imagine when they look at Da and that is an officer and they go, I can be an officer too in this police department. Same thing if you look at where Quan Brown is there. And we now have, I just hired our first black female officer and we have a CSO, I have a black CSO officer to be able to look at Quan and interact with Quan and talk with him. Representation matters to go, I can do that too here in Fond du Lac. That is your Fond du Lac Police Department. Community engagement. This is the fun part. So if you think about it, I mean, we have tripled down. Foot is on the gas pedal. Some of the things we do, the Boys and Girls Club interaction days. Again, everyone has different lived experiences. How incredible is it for our officers to go to the Boys and Girls Club? They have multiple locations and do homework, play games, learn what some of these children are going home to better understand and have compassion when they do go to those homes. Big brothers, big sisters, we do the same thing, interaction days there. We do outings, bike rodeos, get to learn more from those kids. We actually just had our annual the ARC interaction days. Again, how incredible is it for officers to go up to the ARC for an ice cream social? First of all, the ice cream is incredible. You get ice cream and syrup and stuff like that. But to interact with those that have different abilities, right? I'll say it that way. So that when they get called to the ARC or when they get called to group homes or when they get called to some of those homes that are in our community, is they have a better understanding and can provide better services for those unique individuals. We have coffee with safety pop-ups where we're all over Fleet Farm, Target, and we invite the community to ask us questions and get to know us better. And then one of the biggest things as chief that I started is called the Youth Advocacy Program, and that's in the summers. Right now, it's going every Tuesday. We have a group of young adults that join us every Tuesday with a youth advocacy program. The school district is part of it, and our school resource officers, and they spend actually more time with these youth to get to know them better, create those special bonds with them, which really helps when you get into the school season. The other thing is we know that a lot of the youth that we have in this program don't have the opportunities to take some of these field trips, to go to some of the Fondy Sports Park, to go to Horicon Marsh. We do all the transportation. We give them experiences so they have lived experiences and can grow into incredible leaders for this community. And then we also play like sports all around the city. It's amazing though when we play sports against the kids, how competitive they get because we can watch the game before we're there. And then if we're playing dodgeball, like the ball just seems to go a little faster at us. Now it might be because we're old, but it stings a little bit more. But I mean, that truly is part of this community. Now, like Lisette was saying, is one of the priorities I had was looking at the rearview mirror and going, okay, as a Fond du Lac community, what does it look like for our health as a community and where are our needs improvement areas. I can tell you one of them is mental health. We have a mental health, I will even call it a public health crisis. That's where we're at in this community. The second one I would tell you is we have a domestic violence problem in this community. We have a lot of violence in the home. The third is we have, which could go with the first two, is we have, I would say, an addiction drugs issue here in our community. And then we have the fourth, I would say, is violence, weapon violence. So when I look at those, I want to share just a little bit about what we're doing and how we're looking through that windshield. So we just ended our second year with our co-response, our mental health. And like Lisette said, less to have now a social worker 40 hours a week. Well, that means there's 120, I think it's 120. Please, if there's mathematicians, let me know. I went to public school. There's about 120 hours in the week that we don't have covered. But I can tell you right now, from the first year to the second year, is we have increased our assessments by our social worker and our mental health and wellness specialist 34%. So that means 330 assessments done in 2023, which were normally done by a police officer, are now done by the experts of a social worker and mental health wellness. That's phenomenal. We are connecting those that may be going into crisis or could be in crisis with resources right away. We have emergency detentions. I'll have to drill down into this from year over year. Those have increased by 2%, but to give you an idea, is they're still a lot lower because without having a social worker and mental health wellness specialist, those would be police officers going to those, making those assessments, and they would really have a couple avenues: going to jail or having a emergency detention or a commitment. And a lot of times those two options are not the greatest at all for that individual. Voluntary hospitalizations, we have increased those 2% to 17%. Safety planning has increased. It had a little bit of a decrease, but still near 60%. The real neat thing is releases to jails are down and hours of assessments are up. So with our co-response model, 40 hours a week, we have two incredible individuals that you can see there, Kim and Brooke, that have, as last year did 330 assessments. I can tell you this year will probably even grow. And what it all means at the end of the day is about 70% diversion from what we were doing before, meaning we either went to the path of jail or we went to the path of emergency detention. 70% of those we have been able to divert to safety planning, getting with family, getting in resources, getting in front of counselors. That is something in this community to celebrate. That is very progressive. To have a civilian social worker working with a police officer to see those type of statistics. We are excited where this program is going. We have a lot to do and we want to be part of it. As you can understand, the capacity, we have a ton of resources, but our capacity is at its limits. There are only so many counselors. There are only so many crisis workers. There are only so many school counselors, and they are seeing everybody they can see. I can tell you sometimes it takes 3, 4, 5, 6 months. If you need to see somebody in this community, if you're not seeing them already, to be able to get in front of them, we're filling that gap. So what we would love to see is we're swimming upstream, and we would love to see less people in crisis. People are always going to have some things going on with the depression, anxiety, things going on. Where we're going to continue to swim upstream to do everything we can do to ensure that our people, our community, people first, are not going in crisis. Domestic violence. So like I said, we have a domestic violence problem here in Fond du Lac. You can kind of see some of those. Our numbers over the last few years, if you look at 2020 through current day, is our numbers were greater than the city of Green Bay for domestic violence. We have 45,000 that stay here. That's our bedtime population. Our daytime population is about 66,000. So let's just say 45,000. We know Green Bay is over double that, and our numbers are greater than theirs. That's a problem. Well, we're looking through the rearview mirror. How do we do it with looking through the windshield? Is this fall, we're in the works of working with St. Catherine's, Domestic Violence of SSM, Solution Center, and others. And we're building a program just like we did for mental health, for domestic violence. We're going to start swimming upstream, and we're going to ensure that we're getting the help before things become violent, when things are trouble areas in families. We're also going to ensure that those households that have kids in them, is there's follow through and follow up when they're in the school day, so that our SROs can meet with them in a safe place and go, SROs, sorry, school resource officers can meet with them in a safe place and see how are things going, and to get the resources in here so that the violence doesn't happen here. And that will start this fall. And that I'm extremely proud of. Another one that we just took this leap. Oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps because this is 2.5 years in the making. About 2 months ago, is so back in September of 21, when I was appointed chief, I began preparing us as an intelligence-led neighborhood engagement policing model. If you recall, our vision was professional excellence. Our new vision, today's vision, is people first. And we now have leadership in these neighborhoods that are going to engage at the neighborhood level and bring in our community members to solve problems versus us telling you how we're going to solve that problem. Because I could tell you, Lieutenant Noble, that's in the Northwest, in those neighborhoods of Walmart, Quick Trip, and businesses have very different issues and concerns than, let's say, Lieutenant Fisher, that's in the Southeast, that is with apartment complexes in a lot of part of our neighborhoods in that area in schools. They are going to be on the streets. It's almost like they're a chief of every single neighborhood, and we couldn't be more proud of them. To give you an idea on projects, is we have projects at Lake Playmore Park. If you haven't seen that, we're on top of that. We've had some issues there. I will call them misguided individuals that have caused me gray hair. You can quote that, and Jeff, you can keep that on YouTube. Um, but we are holding them accountable for those that are going to our beautiful. That is a beautiful multi-million-dollar park. If you haven't been there to watch the Miracle League and everything else, it will give you chills. We're doing chronic nuisance abatement for those houses that are most of the time they're rentals that are in between neighborhoods that where a lot of problems are. We're holding those landlords, managers accountable and working with them to make changes there. Maplewood Commons. What incredible stories we have there with Carrie Aherns. She is a youth advocate there. Most people don't even know we have programming weekly at Maplewood, building hope, bringing training like CPR. What an incredible thing for everyone to know CPR, especially if they're babysitting, right? I have an older brother that's babysitting a couple of his siblings. So we're doing a lot at Maplewood Commons, and that's what's happening today with our new neighborhood model. Recruitment. So I was given a challenge in 2021 when I became chief. Give you an idea, we were down 26 police officer positions. 26. That's not a small number, especially when I have 79. So I'm telling you, we continue to meet those demands and needs, and we are attracting the right people because we have people coming and going, I know what you're about and I want to be part of it, which is amazing. That's why you're seeing that representation mattering. But to put our recruitment, selection, and onboarding of officers and staff in perspective, just in the last 12 months, 12 new police officers hit the streets. 6 more police officers are sponsored and attending the academy. 6 community service officers started the new positions, and 2 clerks joined the Records Bureau. That's right. 26 members were hired and onboarded in the last 12 months. Now, recruitment is one thing. If you work today and not retired, retention is such another thing. So not only do you have to bring in wonderful talent, you also have to ensure that those incredible human beings you have as officers are also staying with you. And retention starts day one. Field training, professional development. If you haven't seen some of our videos on our day one where we have the music go, I call it the red carpet treatment. I started that. People thought it was weird. Now they love picking out the song. I have as many members that are working there at that time. We clap and we say thank you and welcome to the FDL PD family. Job enrichment opportunities, feeling valued. Every day I have the opportunity to work on culture, on morale, our environment, to ensure that we just saw some of those leadership there. I have 18 members in my leadership team. They must be authentic and genuine, period. or you won't be a leader for me. Fulfillment, blessed every day. So when I come into work, I actually listen to K-Love. I have it blasting in my squad car as I'm coming. I am driving with due regard, so please don't clock me in speed. I can't get to my office fast enough. I want, I would love for everybody to have that experience that I work for. So we have about 115 people of the police department to also have that experience that when they are driving into the police department, that their music is blaring, that they have a smile on their face, and they love coming into work. That's what we're building. And then building a better police. As you can see, we talked a little bit about the rearview mirror. We talked a little bit about the windshield. So I hope you have an even better understanding of how we are building a better police through a culture. And if you can remember your words, and if you take anything out of here today, is humanity is not debatable. That is what your police department has a vision of. Humanity is not debatable. People are always going to be first. It's a culture based on a vision of people first, rooted in trust, core values, foundational beliefs, understanding, compassion, and professionalism. And really, just like today, I am grateful to have this special relationship with this community. I'm in my 27th year, so just finished 26, October, I think. No, October, I start 27. I'm rushing it a little bit. I apologize for that. But we'll continue on building on what we've done. And it's very important for your police department for me to tell you this is not only I have a goal. Not only do I want to make us the safest city in the nation, which that's going to take all of us, right? Together we're better. But safety doesn't mean anything if it's not welcoming, because we could be heavy handed and we can be overbearing and we could push our way to making safety. But if our community members, visitors, and those that want to come here from other cities don't feel welcome, it means nothing. So that's your police department, safe and welcoming. And I'm just grateful to be have the members that work here. I could tell you this each day, if it's a video I watch or hear about, or I make contact with an officer, they are doing awe-inspiring work, and we try and tell that story. We can't tell every story because it's important that we have privacy for the individuals that we're with on the streets. But they do every day come here. They love doing what they do. Um, and I can tell you this: I believe in what we do and why we do it. And I'm so happy to be your chief of police, and I thank you for giving me just a few minutes today to talk with you.